Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
Well, we're having technical difficulties here. He's not signed in on their meet thing.
I think we just
there he comes. He's signing in now. There we go. We've got him coming in sideways. So anyway, you got him signed up there, ready to go?
I got it. I think I'm ready.
There you go, folks. We have got on with us right now James Craigmyle. He is, like I told you, he has been involved with the LivePD on A&E. He has hosted Development America's Top Dog on A&E, and the list goes on and on and on. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Man, we're just hanging in here. I got a buddy of mine in here with me. He's a local dog trainer here, Ed Abel.
How you doing, James? Nice to meet you.
I'm good. How are you, Ed?
I'm doing good.
Man, you've got a lot going on, man. While we got you on here, tell us the scoop.
Oh, man, I do. There's a lot going on. So, I hosted Project K9 Hero Awards on Great American Country last year. That was a blast getting to host with them and in a network that I grew up watching as a kid. We have an event coming up June 3rd, which is the Fox and Hound Canine Foundation, which gives back to law enforcement dogs, first responders, fire arson dogs. It's a great organization. Karen Doss is the founder of that 501c3 organization here in Branson, Missouri, and talk a little bit more about it whenever we get an opportunity here. And then I got a potential show coming out, a dog show coming out. It's being written right now, and pretty excited about that. So we've got a lot of things that are happening here.
Well, now this thing that you're talking about that gives back to the dogs and this, exactly what is that? You say might give it back. What does it give back? I mean, it just supports the dogs' money or what?
Yeah, so Karen has a passion for law enforcement dogs, and she's wanting to give back to them. So my dog, Lore, who everybody knows that was on LivePD, she bought him a ballistics vest. We were a donation-only agency, and she bought him his first ballistics vest through LOF, which is an organization out of Canada, and she helps handlers with training. She helps give back with vests. She helps give back with bloat. There's a surgery that the doctors can do. It's just a couple of minor surgery incisions, and they go in and they staple the dog's stomach in. And I know that it sounds bad. However, a lot of working dogs pass away because of bloat. And if the listeners don't know what bloat is whenever your dog's stomach flips inside and it cuts itself off in there to where it doesn't get the oxygen and is not able to expand and contract, and the dog eventually dies because the stomach swells. And there's a minor surgery that veterinarians do. They go in, they make a couple of small incisions, they staple it in. This is a common surgery, guys. This isn't anything that hurts the dog. It actually prevents the dog from dying. So Karen is wanting to be able to afford the opportunity to pay for this surgery for these agencies that can't afford it, because a lot of agencies across the United States, they're based off of donations only. And the agency doesn't use taxpayers' money to pay for or to fund their canine program. Or maybe they do use taxpayers' money and they don't have enough money set aside for this surgery or for training or for ballistics vests. And that's one way that Karen gives back to the agencies.
Well, James, we have a program here in our area. It's called PAWS, Working Dog Support Network. And it's kind of interesting that you were talking about bloat and other things like that. We train and we supply dogs to law enforcement agencies, also search and rescue organizations, but we also train service dogs. And we just had a dog that developed cataracts. And like you said, that's something you just don't budget in. And when I was a police chief, we had several canine, plus I was a dog handler before I became a chief. And one of the issues that we would always run into, if something happened, and you worked a dog that came from the Czech Republic, they're not inexpensive. You budget that money, but you don't always budget in for severe issues such as bloat or torsion or anything like that. So I'm glad you bring that up, especially because of this time of the year, we run into a lot more bloat, dogs overheating, drinking massive amounts of water, plus exercise, plus overeating, all contributes to that. So I'm glad you brought that point up.
Yeah, it is. It's very common in working dogs, especially because the dogs, they'll get home, they will have just eaten, they're ending their shift, and then the handler gets called out to a high risk for a pursuit or to search for a suspect, and the dog goes immediately into work and they've just eaten. And that dog didn't get that hour of rest that typically they need to let their stomach calm down. And that's when the bloat happens, as you know. And it's just an unfortunate thing. And you're right. You don't budget for that. You know, you take your dog out on a track and they're tracking in the middle of a farm field and there was some metal out there and it's 2:00 in the morning and you don't see that metal. And all of a sudden that dog lacerates its paw and now his paw's sitting there dangling. And now you got to take that dog in for emergency surgery. Is that something that the agency has budgeted for? And typically, as you said, it's no. So this is something that Karen wants to do. She also owns Fox and Hound. She makes soaps, shampoos, flea and tick spray, vest deodorizer, kennel cleaner, and she has partnered with many handlers across the United States in a give back program. So she makes a candle. She puts the handler's dog's picture on this candle, and she takes a portion of the proceeds from the sale of that specific candle and donates it to that agency. So she's been giving back for many years. We've been good friends now for over 10 years, and there's going to be music. I'm going to host and MC the event on June 3rd here in Branson, Missouri at Chateau on the Lake. We have handlers from all across the United States that's coming to this event. I believe 20 dog teams so far. We have people that are donating items, dog trainers that are donating dogs to agencies. We've got 2 puppies that are going to be raffled off and given to agencies to help out for those agencies that can't afford dogs. So it's going to be a really good night. We've got a live band, food, canine demonstrations. We're going to have bike demonstrations. So it's just going to be a good family event the entire day on June 3rd.
You know, James, you're right, because that stuff is really important. One of the things that we emphasize here, we do a lot of the drug dogs for this area. And one of the things that we've noticed is the people in the community actually accept the dogs as their dogs. So when one of our dogs is injured or something happens, it's a lot of community support. And we need that. All law enforcement agencies need that, especially nowadays. You know, there was just recently legislation trying to be passed in California where they wanted to do away with police dogs, which is absolutely ridiculous and asinine, but that's a whole nother show. But it's the community that has to stand up and help these agencies out, especially we're a very rural area in North Georgia, and so we depend heavily on the support of the members of the community and nonprofits. So really appreciate everything you're doing.
Well, now, let me ask you something, James. Me and Ed, we had a falling out about dogs here, and I think that the best trained or best dog for a police dog would be the Basset Hound, and he disagrees with me. What's your take on that? Do you think the Basset Hound's the best dog?
So a Basset Hound, you're going to be limited. Hey, I tell you what, Basset Hounds are great dogs. Don't get me wrong. They're smelly. They have a lot of earwax that comes out of their ears. As far as tracking and trailing, I tell you what, they're an amazing dog. However, they do have a lot of health issues. They are overweight a lot of times, and you usually don't find a Basset Hound that you can toss up in an attic to go after a bad guy. And a Basset Hound, you know, they typically, if you've got a tractor trailer stopped on the interstate, Basset Hounds usually aren't the best for sniffing narcotics on a tractor trailer. So it's a little bit more difficult. You're kind of limiting yourself.
I'm just thinking if I was a deputy, that's what I'd want, because I'm fat and overweight. We'd look like twins riding down the road, you know.
I did not want to say that, but those words came out of Stephen's mouth. We've heard that our whole careers, right? Dogs tend to look, and am I wrong, James? You look at most of the handlers, their dogs look a lot alike them, and vice versa.
That's right.
Steve would be perfect with a Basset Hound.
Anyway, y'all have seen him on Live PD and America's Top Dog, and the list goes on. He's actually a dog trainer way before all this, involved in with the police officers. And but now you said you've got a new show coming out. Is that going to be on A&E, or is this something else we're going to be looking for, or what's the deal with that?
No, so they're going to end up shopping around on networks. It's being written right now. The writer, he lives in California. We've actually had 2 different conversations, and we're looking at his writing style and what that's going to look like and how we're going to develop that, because I want it to be natural. I want it to be I don't want it to be necessarily scripted. Right. I don't want it to be, well, you know, I'm going to train this way, because anybody that's a trainer out there knows that you could have a dog show, but the dog would really dictate how the show's going to go. And the dog owner is going to dictate how the show's going to go, because each dog is different. And we might set aside a day to go in and we say, we're going to do some basic obedience. We're going to do some healing or whatever you're going to do, and the dog shows up, and all of a sudden you can't do that because you got to fix another problem before you can even move on to this problem. So I don't really want it scripted, but I do want to be able to showcase the dogs out there and teach people how to fix the problems, because all of us that are trainers, anybody that has common sense in the world knows that dogs are abandoned. Dogs are left at shelters or dumped on the sides of the road because the owner is tired of the dog peeing or pooping in the house. They're tired of the dog misbehaving. They're tired of the dog yelling and barking and going crazy in the house. They don't have manners. And that's the reason, number one reason dogs are abandoned. So my goal through my training, Craigmyle Canine training, is to develop these dogs, build these dogs' confidence, to help with the manners, with the obedience, so that we have less dogs that are abandoned on the streets and in the kill shelters. And if we can reduce that, then we can help these shelters out and get back. So that's what I want to do, is I want to get back to the shelters. I'd love to be able to go across the U.S. and train some of these shelters, take their worst dog, take the dog that's been there the longest, and show the people that even these dogs that have been in these shelters for years that nobody wants because they're aggressive or whatever their manners are, or their issues are, that we can fix a lot of them. Now, guys, some of the dogs can't be fixed. We all know that. Some people can't be fixed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That's just a fact of life.
Craigmyle You know, that's the thing. And of course, we're talking about police dogs, and everybody always thinks about training police dogs. But now these dogs are, you know, one thing that the Ed's got that just is mind blowing. He's got a dog that he's trained that actually is with a girl that has got diabetes, and this thing can identify when. How does it work?
Dex is a diabetes alert dog. Little girl has type 1 diabetes, and whenever she's blood sugar drops to a certain level, the dog will try to get her going to say, hey, something's wrong, and if not, we'll get the mother, and the mother can go in and do a reading. The dog's name is Dex after Dexcom, which they use to read, but what people don't understand is Dexcoms are not always in real time, and they operate off Bluetooth, so things can fail, things can go wrong, and the dog is the backup to that.
See that, and that's amazing to me. We've watched that happen. We've watched that dog do that. That's just unreal. Some of the stuff that the training y'all can do with dogs and the way they do it's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah, you know, I've never trained service animals like that, and kudos to you, because I wouldn't know where to begin on training a service dog like that. Just being honest, I'm a certified international canine instructor, and I can teach a dog how to bite and track and find missing people and doing obedience and behavioral issues. But when it comes to teaching the dog to be able to detect what's going on in a human with seizures or diabetes or something like that, that is a world that is new to me, something that I would love to learn how to do. So I'd love to pick your brain on that, because we need more dogs like that to help the humans when mechanics fail, whenever their machines fail.
Well, we're even starting to do some stuff now. We've got a small group that we've been working with intervention dogs. Everybody remembers the shooting in Uvalde and places like that. What people don't understand a lot of times, and you do because you're on the job, law enforcement, first responders go through an amazing amount of stress. And using some of the dogs that we've trained, they can actually help. You know, we've all known, unfortunately, officers or military personnel that have committed suicide. You think about something like the Uvalde shooting, all police officers are trained to handle emergencies. Handling a sick child or a death of a child is a traumatic experience. Can you imagine walking into a room with 19 of them?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It's going to change you forever. And if we can use dogs to help the first responders, we're going to be way ahead of the ball game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Well, James, I'd love to get together after the show. We can exchange information. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, well, Craigmyle, K9Training.com, man. We've got to jump to break. Are we leaving anything out? There's so much to cover, man. You're such a busy guy. You're all over the country. You're doing all this stuff, and hats off to you. But are we leaving anything out?
You know, not that I can think of. I just want people to be aware of this organization, Fox and Hound Canine organization, and their efforts to help our working dogs out. Because, guys, I was watching a video last night. There was a canine handler and his dog in Dallas, Texas. The dog went in to bite a suspect that had just killed 2 people. The suspect shot the dog in the chest and then turned, and the suspect shot the handler in the chest and the leg. After he shot the dog engaged the suspect.
Wow.
What a story. And just to see that these dogs and these handlers put so much of their life on the line to protect our community. I'm getting ready to sit on the board for the National Law Enforcement Hall of Fame here in the United States. And that's one thing that we're going to look at is recognizing and honoring canines next year in the National Law Enforcement Hall of Fame. So this year is all about Fox and Hound Canine Foundation and recognizing those 18 to 20 dogs I believe that we have coming in, their service and sacrifice from across the United States, from Miami to LA to New York to Texas to right here in St. Louis and Kansas City, Missouri. So we encourage everybody to come out. If you can't come out, if you can donate, go to Fox and Hound Canine Foundation and donate there. But we hope to see everybody here.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, James. And anytime you need anything, just give us a holler.
I will. I appreciate you guys so much. And it was so nice to meet you guys.
All right, man. You take care, okay?
Same here, sir.
You
Have
too,
a good
sir.
day.
All right. Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.